welcome Christian metal community. My name is Jimmy, and we have Jay on here with part of the leadership team for the Christian metal group.
Yep.
Today we have on David Harvey with Millennial Reign. How are you doing today, David?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Man, we're doing fantastic.
Great.
Well, thanks for jumping on with us. So I'm going to kick it off with for you growing up, did you grow up in a religious home?
I did not. Not
Okay,
at all.
not at all. Did you grow up in a musical home?
I did not.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I did
You're
not.
breaking all kinds of records and setting trends.
Oh
Huh?
yeah.
Awesome. All right, do you have any siblings?
Yeah. I'm actually the youngest. I'm the baby of the family.
Uh huh.
I've got a brother who's 8 years older than me and a sister who's 11 years older than me.
Okay, cool.
So,
And are any of them involved in music?
no, no.
Wow. All
I'm
right.
I'm the only one out of the entire family. I don't even have any cousins that got involved in music.
Awesome. So you're kind of the odd duck, huh? But you own it.
I
That's
I
good.
guess so. I guess so.
That's awesome. Hey, no worries, man.
Yeah,
Jay.
that's awesome, dude. So let's talk about Millennial Reign. We're just gonna jump right into it.
Oh yeah.
Um, what style of music would you uh, call yourselves? Let's start there. Talk
Oh
about
well, we are definitely the style of European power metal.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You know, I've told this story in many interviews, many times.
Mhm.
I'm an '80s guy. Let me just say, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I'm 61 years old. I just turned
Okay.
61.
Yeah.
Uh, I was a big '80s guy. I was military,
Mhm.
and there's a story behind that and how I even came to the Lord. But
Love it.
uh, I was military, and when I got out of the military, I got back into music. I was in music before I enlisted, and after I got out.
Mhm.
And I was, as I said, I was in the bands like Queensryche, Iron Maiden,
Oh
Dokken.
yeah.
I was all in. And then the '90s rolled around, and I was one very lost individual in the '90s
Mm.
because I just could not deal with the alternative.
I
That
understand.
just was not my cup of tea. It was very
Sure.
very dark time for me musically.
Yeah.
And then when I actually finally got on the internet, bought a computer and got on the internet around '99 or so,
Oh
Okay.
well.
I discovered what was going on in Europe. I discovered bands like Master Plan, Ed Guy, uh, Avantasia in their early days.
Yeah.
Just all these bands, and it was just like, "Whoa," I mean,
Right.
it's just,
You found
that's
your
where,
home.
that's where, that's just the way that my musical taste turned.
Yeah.
I started ordering all these bands, CDs off the internet, and I was having them shipped all the way from Europe at that time because
Wow.
I can
there weren't any
relate.
distributors in the United States. So I was having them shipped from Europe, and once I got a hold of this, I mean, my whole musical direction just completely turned around. That's
Yeah.
all I've listened to for the last 20 plus years, and so
So
naturally my songwriting just went that direction,
sure.
and that's
Love
how
Were
we
it.
you?
signed with. I'm sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to ask, were you in bands before you formed Millennial Reign?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Millennial Rain
Once you
didn't
became a
actually.
Christian and all, yeah, that
Yeah,
changed.
we didn't. Well, Millennial Reign actually started as a recording project. It wasn't even a full
Oh.
band. It was just me and a singer.
Okay.
And the first two albums, the first album was more of was an '80s metal project, kind of a
Mhm.
L.A. Guns, Dokken,
Yeah.
sounding type thing.
Yeah.
We released that independently, and then I started working on the second album, and of course all the power metal roots were starting to take hold, and that's when I put out "Carry the Fire," and that's when
Oh.
also when we signed with Ulterium Records, which is a European label,
Yes.
and uh, he started pushing us. He says like, well, it's cool that you're doing this and putting the album out, but he's like, well, why don't you put a whole band together and start doing gigs? So we did. We put a whole band together, and it's been a full band ever since.
Nice. So is
Love it.
that when you came up with the name as well, or did you already have it pre?
I had actually been kicking that name around for a whole lot of years.
Uh huh.
I probably heard the church I was sitting in. I remember the pastor talking about the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ,
Mhm.
and when I heard that, I just I can remember thinking, that'd probably be a pretty cool name for a band. And I had that for years before
Yeah.
I ever used it. And that was probably back in the 90s. And then, like I say, 2010 is when I actually put the name in use.
Nice.
Okay. Wow, cool. Well, so how long have you been playing guitar?
Uh, I was kind of a late bloomer. I didn't
Mhm.
get started until I was like 15, 16 years old. I didn't get serious until I was around 19. And then, of course, I joined the military at 19. So that kind of stunted my growth a little bit musically. I
Yeah.
didn't get to spend as much time. I did play in a couple of bands while I was in the military, but
Okay.
nothing major. And then once I uh, went to Europe, came back, and ETS from the Army or discharged. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's when I really started focusing more on music as a the main thing that I do. And
Yeah.
that was probably around 88, 89, close to 90, somewhere around there.
Oh man, cool.
So I know Deuterium Records. Is that how you pronounce it correctly?
Ulterium, yeah.
Ulterium. Man, you have some great label mates. I was wondering if you've gotten to play some shows with them.
Oh yeah.
Theocracy's out of Georgia, which is close to me. I did get to see them in Atlanta before their last European tour, but and I know all these aren't full bands. Treasure Seeker, amazing, Signum
Yeah.
Regis,
Mm-hmm.
Diviner. You got Dark Water. I mean, Within Silence, 7 Days. I mean, you got some amazing talent, and I'm sure Simbreed, and I'm sure they are happy to be on a label with you. I know you've been on it for quite a while now, but what's that
Well,
like being
actually,
on that label?
yeah, a couple of those bands aren't. In fact, even Theocracy signed with a new label.
Right, but they
Um,
were, yeah.
yeah, they were, yeah. Now we actually did a full weekend with Theocracy. They flew here to
Oh, nice.
Texas.
Okay.
That was back around, when was that? That was like around maybe 2016. No. That was
Okay.
2017 because that was before we went to Mexico for the first time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did a full weekend with them. They flew here and we played with them in Houston, and then the next night we played with them in Dallas. But
Okay.
that's the only band from the label that we've actually done shows with. We've done tons of shows with a lot of nationals, toured with Striper, Petra,
Oh wow.
Hammerfall, uh,
Okay.
you know, Sonata Arctica.
Oh wow.
Wow.
We've
Love
What's
them.
what's out of
we
those tours, like which one is kind of sticks out was just being a really fun tour?
oh that would be Striper. I mean,
Oh,
those
nice.
guys were just we and that was kind of funny how that went too because we actually opened for them on the Fallen tour.
Okay.
And now I'm using his words; these aren't my words. I'm using his. But I got a call, or actually an email, from their manager like about a week later,
Mm-hmm.
and their manager was saying, "Okay, well, Michael," he said, "he played with you guys last week. He said you guys were a high quality band. Again,
Mm,
his words, not mine. He
sure.
said you guys were a high quality band, and he said we haven't announced this yet, but they're getting to go back out on the 30-year reunion of the Tatel with the Devil tour."
Yeah.
And he said, "We're needing opening bands, on the tour. Would you guys be interested in doing the tour?" We're like, "Well, yeah, of course we would."
Sure.
Uh, but now we didn't end up doing the whole tour because we're all a bunch of working guys. We all hold down normal jobs. We
Well,
can't be out for 2 months at a time. So we
Right.
yeah.
just did we just did the southern leg of it. Started out in Louisiana and did the whole southern part of it all the way and ended in Dallas.
Yeah. So I saw
Yeah.
that tour, but I didn't get to see you. That was the first time I seen Striper. Believe it or not, was their 40th anniversary at the Hell with the Devil. But I've seen
Really?
them, I think, 5 times since then, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we actually, like I said, there's a story behind when I was in the military. Uh, I was stationed in Hanau, Germany,
Okay.
and at that time, I wasn't serving the Lord. I didn't, I had been in church some in my life, but
Sure.
nothing that really, stuck out or grabbed me or whatever. I wasn't living the life at all.
Yeah.
And there was this guy that came to my unit, and maybe about 2 or 3 weeks. I can't. It's been so many years ago. I can't even remember his name. He was a younger guy, but he was very devout, and he was talking to me. We were working together for a couple of weeks, and he was talking to me the whole time. And witnessing was what he was doing. And I was listening. I wasn't rejecting him or anything.
Uh-huh.
And out of the blue, one day he says, he said he knew that I was a musician. He says, "You being a musician and listening to the bands you listen to," he said, "there's a band you ought to check out." He said, "They're called Striper."
Ah.
He said, "I really think that you would like them." He said, "They're a Christian rock band." And at that time, I was like,
What?
"Christian rock? There is such a thing?" He's
Yes.
like, "Yeah." All right. Now that being said, he had been witnessing to me on top of that, and after him telling me that, I can't remember the amount of time, but it was a very short amount of time. There was this album store that I went to
Yeah.
every payday, and I was there, and I was one of these people that if I saw an album and I just liked the cover, I'd buy it.
I still
Okay,
do that.
that's just who I
I
was.
love
Do
it.
that too.
I just had
Absolutely.
a large collection. Well, one day it was on a payday. Uh, I walked into that album store, and I mean, just as soon as I opened the door and walked in, there was the new album rack, and right on the front of it was Soldiers Under Command,
Oh man.
facing me. I mean, and it just jumped right out at me. I saw it. I walked over to it. I was looking at it. I liked the cover, so I bought it, and I can put my finger. I can put my finger on that was the place that something started changing here.
Oh,
I
that's
can
so good.
I can tell you that is what really reached me.
See,
And
and I
it
and
was
I
it was
that right
completely
there
different.
speaks. God can use
Sorry.
anything. I said God
Yeah,
can use
exactly.
anything. That speaks to,
Right.
metal
Exactly.
music, and people try to like downplay it as a ministry, but no,
Right,
it is. And I say, you see right there, there's my To Hell with the Devil
right.
picture disc. Oh yeah,
I might have a striper frisbee somewhere around
nice.
somewhere around here.
I called a Bible at one of the shows in the last couple of years.
Oh,
Oh
cool.
yeah. I tried when we were on tour with them. I did everything I could try to get them to give me one. They wouldn't do it.
That's funny.
It was like, no, really, we would love to, but this is something that we made that commitment. This is something we throw out. I was like, let me buy one then, just sell me one. They wouldn't do it. I mean, it was
Oh
all a
man.
joke.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were kidding, but
I'd
still,
love to get
if
a.
they would have given me one, I would have took it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd love to get an original one from the '80s, but
Oh
they're
yeah.
kind of pricey online.
Yeah, well,
Oh
the
man.
very first time I saw them was actually in Arkansas at a small auditorium called Robinson Auditorium. They were
Uh-huh.
touring with Hurricane,
Oh
and that
nice.
was the To Hell with the Devil tour. That was like
Yeah.
around
Oh wow. Yeah.
1986, 86
'86.
or
Yeah,
87, somewhere around in there.
I bet that was an amazing show.
Yeah. I know they
That
had
was
to be
phenomenal.
epic, man.
Yeah,
Wow. So power metal, of course, Striper. I would say they almost didn't become power metal until like what's that? Fallen. That's a great
yeah,
that's like Striper gone power metal for sure.
yeah.
It's
Yahweh is one of the most killer songs I've
that
heard them
is
make.
my
I
It's
favorite
awesome.
Striper song.
I
It's my
love it.
favorite.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about before and after, but Yahweh I think is the pinnacle. Like they
Yeah,
they
I
they
agree with
went
that.
somewhere on that
Yeah,
song that you
I
know
completely
they
agree.
they almost haven't gone there since. Really, I almost
No.
want them to make a power metal album. They did so good with
For
that, man.
real. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
well, one thing about them, they've really upped their game since that
Yes.
album. I mean, they
Mhm.
have just gone full on, just metal. You know, now back in the
Yeah. Thank you.
day, yeah, well, back in the day, they were that what they were playing was normal. It was called pop
Yeah, of
metal.
course.
That's what
Oh
everybody was
wow.
playing, unless you listen to bands like I did, the heavier stuff like
Yeah.
Queensryche, Iron Maiden, and
Hmm.
just all that. But Judas Priest, that would be
Right.
considered more metal. But now I would put Striper in that genre now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I can
So,
agree.
speaking of the genre, the genre stuff, how healthy is the Christian power metal movement now, in your
Mhm.
opinion?
You talking about locally or altogether?
Just overall, and what's
Well,
been your experience like?
well, it's a whole lot more predominant now than it is when I was younger. Uh,
Mm,
the church that I got saved in after coming back from the military, I mean,
mhm.
literally got saved. they actually preached against it. You know, they preached
Of
against
course.
Christian rock. I mean, there were so many. I mean, in Petra, you know, I've gotten to be good friends with those guys because, and you know, Greg Voles, he lives right here in the area.
Oh, cool.
And as a matter of fact, we did our album release show back in June, and he came and did it with us. He came and helped
Oh
out with it.
man,
Oh, that's so good.
please,
And
please get Greg
he
on
and
the
I,
power metal track.
yeah,
Yes,
he and
that's been
I
something I've been
discussed
wanting to
that.
hear years.
Yeah, well, he and I discussed it, and even the last few times we played with Petra, you know, with John Schlitt and John
Mhm.
Lowry, I've gotten to know John Lowry pretty well,
Oh, cool.
and they all. I mean, it's back in those days, it just was not accepted.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, just I really I get where they were coming from. I
Mhm.
understand, and they meant well. They did. They meant well. They weren't just being, you know, cruel. And I, you know, I look back on it and I can see where they were coming from. You know, let's just say that, you know, you were a drinker before you got
Right.
saved.
Hmm.
You know, and some people think, okay, well, it's okay to still have a beer every once in a while. Hey,
Hmm.
that's you know that's totally up to you. But the thing is, you know, what is that going to lead to? You know,
Right.
what door is that going to open? You know, I'm not
Hmm.
just saying beer. I mean, it could be anything. It could be, you know, it could be porn. It could be drugs. It could be, you know, if you start with this little bitty thing, well, it's okay. I'll just
Right.
do this.
Right.
You know, it can lead to bigger things, and
Sure.
that's where they were coming from, and
Hmm.
I get that they were wrong, you know, but
Mm.
but they
Right.
meant
Exactly.
well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to answer your question,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. No,
it's a whole lot more predominant now than it used to be. In fact, you know, you see a lot more uh, Christian bands on the local level than what you used to.
cool. I
And
like that.
there's probably that I know of. There's probably five or six here that I can think of right off the top of my head. I know, uh, you know, he and I before you joined us, he and I were talking about Glenn Remsen and the Lithos Cry
Hmm.
Okay.
and all those bands that are on the Resurrection records. They're like around your area, like
Yeah.
Tricord and who are some of the others? The Becoming Sons, I think they're in your
Oh,
area.
yeah. Hmm.
Those bands, you know, you just see a lot more bands on a local level than what you used to. So I would say that it's you know it's healthy, but we're
Definitely.
dealing with you know post COVID when a lot of the venues and you still got people freaked out over you know going out and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's never going to be what it was, but
Hmm.
it's a lot better than what it was back in the beginning. You know, there
But
there is there is a scene there.
it's still much larger in Europe, wouldn't you say? You know,
Oh
the
yeah,
audience and all. Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's just a
And
big
that's
deal.
almost.
We played Elements of Rock in Switzerland in 2023,
Yeah.
and it's just a whole different vibe. I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean,
That's
the
awesome.
bands that are there, they're all on a top level. They're top
Hmm.
notch, you know,
I can see that.
and it's just you. Unlike here, where you know, it's hard getting people to get out anymore. It really is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there, you don't have that problem. They're still
For
going to
sure.
shows there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's like I mean, in South America and in Brazil, man, they're those fans they'll drive 2 days to a show. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Yeah.
so. Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about your newest phenomenal album, World on Fire. Man,
Yes.
uh, what kind of I got a couple questions. One, kind of what was your recording process for that, and then specifically Tongues on Fire. What's the story behind that song?
Well, as far as lyrically, I didn't write any of the lyrics, so it's kind of hard for
Okay,
me to elaborate too much on the lyric
Okay.
side of it.
That's right.
sure.
Yeah.
But as far as the recording process, you're looking at it. This is my studio right here. This is
Oh,
where I'm
nice.
talking to you
Cool.
from. You can't really see everything that's in here, but
Yeah.
uh, everything was recorded right here, and I do all the production on it. You know, back in 2014 when we recorded, I call it the first album because the one we released as a recording project, I actually took that off the market and re-released it
Oh,
under a different name because it just didn't really match what we're doing now.
Gotcha.
sure.
Uh, but anyway, Carry the Fire. I bought Pro Tools and I started learning the process there. I recorded that album. I didn't mix it or master it, but I
Hmm.
recorded it.
Okay.
And then the second one, The Great Divide, I recorded that one as well. And then, but again, I didn't mix it. But this album here, I did everything from start to finish. I recorded and mixed and mastered everything. I felt I
That's
was ready.
amazing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so what is Carry the Fire Again?
That we took 4 songs
Uh-huh.
when we changed vocalists. What a lot of people don't realize when Travis Wills came in and did the second album, he was only a fill-in. He wasn't part of the band.
I see.
Uh, when James, who sang on the first album, when he decided he had to leave, well, we still had things on the books. We were literally starting to record the album. We were into our album for Ulterior Records. We had several shows lined up. We were supposed to go to Mexico to Exodo Fest.
Oh yeah.
The 2 shows that I told you about with Theocracy, those were
Uh-huh.
booked. Hammerfall, that was booked. We had another show with Striper coming up. I mean, there was a lot of stuff
Sure.
that we had lined up that we had committed to. So Travis, who's a friend of mine, and at that time we were actually next door neighbors.
Oh
I
wow.
was telling him about it. He says, "Well, let me." He says, "I'll help you out, get you through all this stuff, and then after that, you can find you another vocalist." I'm like, "Okay." So he came in, did all that stuff with us, and after all the commitments were pretty much behind us, we started looking for a full time vocalist again. And our drummer Steve at the time has a friend here named David Houston who is a vocal coach. And Steve reached out to him to ask him, "Hey, we're needing a vocalist, somebody who's a believer. We're needing a vocalist full time to come join the band. Do you have anybody that you're working with that might be interested?"
Yeah.
And first thing right out of his mouth was, "Do you have anything against a female?" And we thought about it and we was like, "No, I've never really given it much thought, but if she can do the job, we'll do it."
Sure. Yeah.
So hence he brought Tiffany out, and she auditioned, and we actually had another show lined up with Striper and Accept. We had 2 shows
Oh
coming
yeah,
up
nice.
with them, and she did both those shows with us, knocked it out of the park. So after those 2 shows were done, well, we decided, okay, look, you did a good job. Are you interested in joining the band? She's like, "Yeah, I want to do it
That's
full time."
awesome.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, I was watching your interview on Lithos Cry.
Hmm.
That's the interview how I found out about the podcast to begin with. Because I don't think I don't remember hearing about it before, but they were interviewing your band, and you and Tiffany was on there, and I think one other person maybe. And
I think the whole band was on that one.
okay, maybe
Yeah,
it
we
was
had
the whole thing. Yeah.
Pedro and Neil as well.
Okay, nice. Yeah, and I think that's how I discovered the podcast. Yeah, good
Yeah,
stuff, man.
yeah, he's been around. Neil, yeah, Glenn's been around for quite a while, and that's actually the
Yeah.
second time I've interviewed with him.
Oh,
First time
cool.
it was just me, and then the second time it was the whole band or coming up to the release of the new album.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So name a couple of guitar heroes. You have any guitar
Randy
heroes?
Rhodes.
Oh God.
We didn't have to think
And,
about that.
yeah, I didn't. As a matter of fact, if you go to the Millennial Reign YouTube channel,
Hmm.
there are several videos on there of me covering Randy Rhodes solos because I
Nice.
am it's
Yeah, he's innovative. Very innovative.
yeah, and it's such a shame he died at such a young age and
Hmm.
Yeah,
such a senseless death,
sure.
But what he had achieved at the age of 25 and back was just phenomenal. I mean,
Absolutely.
even Eddie Van Halen gave him props. I mean, it was unbelievable what that guy could have achieved if he hadn't died such a dumb death.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as if in fact if you listen to a lot of my solos because I work on his stuff so much well, if you listen to a lot of my solos, you'll hear a lot of his licks and stuff in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Super cool.
yeah.
What's your go-to guitar? What do you like to play?
I'm a Jackson guy.
Right
Okay,
there.
There.
very nice.
Jackson. I've got 3 of these. These are Jackson soloists.
Do you
And
have
this one,
different? Yeah. Do you have different ones for touring and recording?
not really. I use this one to record
Okay,
the whole album.
nice.
No. I take that back. I've got another one that I used because didn't have this one when I first started recording that album, and then after I got this, I finished out recording with this. So I've got like I say, I've got 3 of these. I got one that's a blue flame top, and I have a black one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know that I'll ask this question now, just because. What's your favorite thing about being a Christian?
Not being Christian?
No, about being a Christian.
Oh, my favorite thing. I thought you said
Yeah.
singer.
Oh no,
Um,
what's your favorite thing about being a Christian?
okay, I'm sorry. I had
Oh,
turned the sound up a little bit. I was having trouble hearing.
oh yeah, no
Uh,
worries.
well, answer to prayer would definitely be up there because it's a completely different walk than it
Mm,
is walking a secular walk. You know,
yeah.
Hmm.
it's when well, it says right in there, if the Lord be for me, who can be against me?
Hmm.
You know, it's it's phenomenal knowing that the Creator of the entire universe has your back.
Man, that's good.
You know, and it if and it says Jesus Himself said, if if I abide or if you abide in me, my words abide in you. Ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you.
Mm,
Hmm.
And this church that I've been going to since 2016, I've learned more than I have my entire Christian walk before that.
oh wow.
It's amazing what this man of God teaches, and he teaches, the number one, the straight up word of God, and when you are living in obedience, when you are pleasing to the Lord,
Hmm.
you get answers,
Yeah.
Mm,
and it's so my favorite thing is actually hearing from the Lord, however that may be. I actually love hearing from the Creator.
that's good. So you're in is it Dallas, Texas?
Yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
in Arlington, which is
Uh,
DFW's several different cities, but I'm in the
Okay.
Metroplex, Arlington.
So
Cool.
so just in case somebody's watching this and maybe they're looking for a church,
Mhm.
what's the name of your church?
It's called Faith Christian Center.
Okay.
Faith
It's
Christian
it's in
Center,
Arlington.
Arlington, Texas.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep,
Nice. Awesome. That's really good. So y'all check that out if you're in the area.
That's
So
right.
what can the Christian metal community do to support Millennial Reign?
hmm. Uh, well, of course, everybody's going to say buy albums, but
Oh yeah.
uh, you know, prayer is one good thing. If you can't come and support, uh, physically, well
Sure.
then, prayer's good. We'll take
Oh,
we'll take whatever we can get.
absolutely.
But I will add this. Uh, one thing that Greg Voles and I talked about, a couple months ago when he came and did the album release show with us. The state of Texas is as big as it is.
Mm.
There are no Christian promoters,
Oh
no
wow.
Wow.
organizers, no Christian rock booking agencies whatsoever in the entire
Interesting.
state of Texas.
Wow.
And so there's, because he's still doing CPR, classic Petra Resurrection.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm
And
hoping to catch that tour soon.
yeah, but anyway, so we discussed that, and I really, after talking about that night, I really just took that to heart,
Hmm.
and I spent some time, speaking to the Lord about it. So what I am doing, I am starting my own uh, festival. Now,
Oh,
granted,
Wow.
cool.
yeah,
Amazing.
we're doing it right now. We're going to do it on a 3 month basis, and for the
Hmm.
time being, I'm just using uh, bands from the area, but
Right.
the long term plan is to build up funding and build up legitimacy and just build up the clientele, the people who are going to be there, and so I can start bringing in national acts because I'm friends with everybody. I mean, I'm friends with guys from Sacred Warrior. I'm friends with guys from White Cross. I'm friends with
Oh
guys
yeah.
from Petra,
We're going to see those
Striper.
at Immortal Fest.
That's right.
Those are some
That's
great
right.
bands.
Well, now that you say that, that's exactly what I'm kind of uh, focusing on.
Okay.
I've been watching what Steve Barhorse has been doing, and I'm going to kind of stick to that same genre. I'm wanting to stick with bands, that
Yeah.
you can understand the lyrics. That this is going to be a ministry, and the way we've got this set up right now, uh, It's going. We've got another band coming in. They're called Stained Red. They're from the
Oh
area.
yeah, we know
They've been
them.
around for a
Yeah.
while.
Uh huh.
In fact, they're on Resurrection Records. They're going to open, and then we have a speaker that's going to speak in between bands. A guy by the name of Kelly Roberts.
Yeah.
He's in a local ministry here. He's going to do some speaking, and then we're doing our set. So it's going to be ministry.
Cool.
And now I am not in this for profit whatsoever, but we have to charge because the venue has to be paid for.
Yeah.
We have to
Absolutely.
pay
Yeah.
to use the venue. We're not pocketing anything. Everything is going right back into the festival itself. Everything that has to be paid for. We charge $20 a ticket. You can go to Eventbrite and just look up Millennial Reign on Eventbrite, and that event will pop up.
That's
It's
cool.
called North Texas Metal Fest. You know what? Let me send you something here right quick. Hold on
So
just a second.
we have some contacts in the Texas area. If you don't already know some of these bands and stuff, we can connect you to them. Like we just interviewed Saving Jackie. Have you heard of them?
Saving Jackie, yeah. I don't know them, but I have heard of them, yes.
Well, we
Cool.
can help you to know
Really
them.
cool.
They are fantastic. And
Absolutely.
what about Derek Corzine? You know him?
That name sounds familiar. Does he?
He's
Does he
a
play?
producer, mixer, and he's got his own like one man band type. Crowned in Sorrows is newest one, but
Okay.
he's played in
I
other
think
ones.
I have heard of that, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also the new lead singer for Testimony of Apocalypse. So
Not familiar with that band.
you remember Sacrament?
Yeah, okay.
So
Yes.
it's the drummer, right, Jay?
Yeah, I think he's a drummer, and it might be. Yeah, it's the drummer.
The original drummer of that band. And Testimony of Apocalypse was the name of one of their songs, and so they just
And track one of their albums for real.
yeah.
Classic
Oh,
album.
the album. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we got connections. We'd love to help with that. That'd be awesome, man. Great.
Yeah. Like I say, we're starting out with Stained Red, and but I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to do it every 3 months, quarterly, and
Okay.
the vision is to start bringing in national, build up the funding that we can start bringing in national acts, and that's.
That's so
Everything.
good. We'd love to
I
help
know
you
enough of them.
promote
All I
that.
got to do is to contact them, but we've got
Yeah.
to be able to pay them too. So.
Yeah. You mean bands don't work for free? Like
yeah, yeah. Believe me, I've run into that. I had
Oh,
a guy
I know.
want me to bring the band to Arizona. And I'm like, okay, well, we need to talk to a promoter to work this out. And he's like, wait, you're part of a ministry. You want to charge? I'm like, we don't pay for our own travel. I'm sorry, we just don't do that.
gas
I
is
know
not,
that's right.
gas is
Man.
not free, man. It's not free.
Exactly.
Sure ain't.
Some people just don't understand that. They think you're just supposed to do it as for nothing.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
it's not about profit. It's
Right.
there's things that has to be paid for.
Absolutely.
Pretty
Yeah,
much
every
everything that
comment.
we do. Pretty much everything we do. I mean, it's a break even type thing. I'm fine
Sure.
with that. I'm fine.
Yeah, I understand that. Absolutely. I know Carmen. Remember Carmen, of course. He said, I'll never forget him raising the offering at one of his concerts. He said, the gospel's free, but it's not really preached.
Exactly. That's true.
Well, man, let's stay in touch. We'd love to help you promote those shows and stuff
Okay.
in the group and however we can, any connections we can help. So this has been great, man. I appreciate your time.
Much
All right.
love.
I just sent you guys a flyer, so it's
Okay.
on the Facebook Messenger. So.
All right,
Cool.
we'll
We've
put that out
even,
there.
we've even, I can send you, also, I've got a promo video I'll send you as well.
Very
Awesome.
nice. We
All right.
will
I
help.
appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah,
All
man.
right, man. Appreciate you, man. Take care. God bless you.
All right. God bless.